Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, and members of the council, everyone. Appreciate your support. And Mayor, it seemed like forever ago that Brad Toll and I were in your office talking about, hey, there's this NFL draft that's going to be going on the road, and our community should go after this. So met with you and your team. And speaking of that team, I see members of the staff and Steve over there, Steve Grenier, and Chief Knott, Chief Davis. Thanks for all the support as we have built up to this event, which is now just a few short weeks away. So it seemed like a long time ago, and here we are, just a few weeks away. So it's exciting for all of us. So I just, on behalf of the Green Bay Packers, and we've got a number of speakers here today, but Mark Murphy and everyone on our team that felt this would be a great opportunity for the city of Green Bay and the greater Green Bay area and the region and the state. We are excited that it is upon us, and the opportunity to have our colleagues with the NFL who are here on their last site visit before the event gets going later this month as we build things out, which we'll see. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here and hear from them. So thanks for this on behalf of everyone at the Packers. And with that, I want to start by inviting our colleagues up here, and starting with John Barker, who heads up global event operations and production with the NFL, and he'll get us started with the presentation. John.
Good evening. Thank you, one, for the opportunity just to be here and address all of you, Mr. Mayor, to you and to the council members. Thank you for all the work that it took to bring the draft here. As Aaron said, it's not just the NFL looking at a map and saying, we should just go over there. It takes an entire community to come together and say, we want this. We want the draft to come to our community. And the work that the Packers did and the work that all of you did brought that plan to life. We're simply here now to execute that plan. And thanks again to you, to the council members here, to this community represented that has embraced us so warmly since day one. And then to all the city agencies that we've had the pleasure to work with through the last 2 years to get us here, and especially Green Bay PD and Fire and Rescue for all of your support and your help. We live in the world of mass events and bringing a lot of people together. And I can't say enough about the work that your police department and your fire department has done to make us be able to bring events like this to life. So we very much appreciate it. Before we really get into this, we thought maybe we'd take a step back. We just want to show you a very quick video, give you about a minute of flavor of the draft. So this is last year's draft. So we thought we'd just remind everybody. See, look at that. See?
I just got one thing to say. What up, though?
The 2024 NFL Draft is now underway. With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback, Southern California.
So that gives you a flavor of the draft. And look, I recognize the fact that I'm standing in Green Bay, Wisconsin, showing you a lot of Detroit Lions video. And let me not do that again. and also the Bears getting the #1 pick and Caleb. So look, I get that. I promise you this: next year in Pittsburgh, they're going to see a whole lot of Green Bay stuff.
Them having the #1 pick,
Yeah,
as long as they
it's a
want.
very fair point. It's a very fair point. But what the video is meant to represent is this: yeah, this is about the prospects and it's about celebrating these young men and the work that they have done. But the draft is about hope. Everybody's 0-0. Everybody's got a chance. And it's about football and it's about fandom and it's about community. You will see a lot of Packers and a lot of Green Bay representation in this draft, but you're going to see 31 other teams as well. And that's what draft really is. And the ability to bring this event, and secretly a lot of these talented people who actually do all the work to make this happen will tell you, we love this event because it really truly is a celebration of football. And as I said to Aaron and Ed and Murph and Gabrielle, to be able to do that celebration at the Mecca of football is really special. Lambeau Field is a very, very special place. I've had a chance to be around the world and see a lot of amazing stadia, but there's a moment when you walk out on that grass and it is special. And the fact that we've got an opportunity to bring something that we love to do and celebrate it in a place like this, I think is just going to make this one truly, truly memorable for everybody. So what we want to do is give you a preview of what draft is going to look like. We're going to pull back the curtain a little bit, show you some stuff that maybe you haven't seen before, talk to you about some of the plans. In the events world, we've still got 2 months, which is like a year. We've got plenty of time to make this thing refined. I said to the team tonight, the foundation and building blocks of this event is there. Now it's just about refinement. Now it's just about building it and making it better. And how do we make this truly, truly special? So we can be proud of it, but more importantly, your community can be really proud of it. We always say that the draft is not the NFL's draft. This one is Green Bay's draft. This is your draft. You worked really hard to get it. We want to make sure that it really feels like your draft. So let's take a look at some of these images here. This is what we call the campus. This is the full draft campus. If you start from your right-hand side and we start moving to our left, the beginning there, that's draft experience. Nikki Ewell and her team are going to talk to you a little bit about what's going to happen there. Then we're centered by the stadium. We'll have the ability to program the stadium. We've got some cool and unique things that will happen inside there. And then if you move further to the left-hand side, that's the other side of the stadium. That's where the main draft theater will be. It's a temporary build. It's a structure that we built specifically for the draft. As we get into the next one here, you now start to see the size and scale of the draft theater. It's anchored on either side by some private hospitality pieces. You see in the foreground there, that is the large GA viewing area. And then inside that structure is the actual draft theater. But no matter where you're standing on that footprint, you're going to be able to see right into the inside of that theater and see everything that's going on. This gives you a sense of inside the theater. This is one of the 2 television sets that are inside, built there. I believe this is the NFL Networks, and you see what they're going to see when they're live on air. And then here we go to the next one, which is now well, this doesn't seem to be moving anymore on me. See, I'm telling you, tech and me, not good. There you go. So this gives you a sense of just a dead-on shot. If you're standing out in that GA area, this is what you're going to look into. You see the commissioner's podium centered right there in the middle. And then this last one is the one that I'm really proud to show you and want to show you here. And you start to see when we start talking about this being your draft, the inspiration of this stage design is from your stadium. We wanted to bring Lambeau inside. So you'll see some smaller details there that really reference back to Lambeau Field. And making sure that when we talk about the Green Bay draft, there's no mistaking what this set is and the purpose of this set and the reason that we designed this this way. So we're really, really proud of this one. And if you go back and look at all the various drafts that we've done, you'll see that we take great care in making sure that we really think about the feel and the look and the design. We're going to show you some more decor pieces here in a little bit as well, so you can get a feel of how we're going to dress all around the campus. And then the last slide for me is really just to remind everybody how big draft really is. 55 million people, over 90 hours of air coverage across all of our partners at ABC, ESPN, and NFL Network. Massive, hundreds of thousands in attendance, and then just a massive amount of social media spread across those 3 days as well. numbers of draft are numbers of draft, and Detroit smashed records. Also remember, it's a downtown metropolis city. Of course, they're going to have big numbers. The attendance numbers isn't what we focus on. We focus on the quality of the experience of fans that come, and it can be one person or it can be 775,000 people. It doesn't make a difference. We need to make sure that the draft is memorable. There's a wonderful sign that's in one of the tunnels going onto the field at Lambeau Field that says, "Today could be somebody's bucket list day." And that's what this is about, and that's what we're trying to create. So we're really, really proud of the event. We're really proud of where it is today. And again, it all goes back to this community and the support that you've provided all of us to get us there. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to turn it over to the very, very talented team behind me that's actually doing the work to bring this all to life. So first, we're going to bring up Ashley Hamilton to walk you through the schedule and some of our decor pieces. Ash.
Thank you, John. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us today. So here we have the production schedule. So this 3-day event, we'll have round one on April 24th. That's Thursday, April 24th. Gates will open at noon. Draft experience will open at noon as well. The pre-show is to be determined, but we'll provide that info shortly. Draft theater, the main stage, theater stage will start production around 7 p.m. and we will end around 10 p.m. approximately. As you see here, we have ABC networks are ABC, ESPN, and NFL Network. All of our onstage production will be broadcast on those networks as well for all 3 days. On Friday, April 25th, we have rounds 2 and 3. Gates will open at noon, as well as draft experience. We will confirm the pre-show shortly. Draft theater, however, on Friday will open at 6 p.m. and will close at 11. Here we have, again, all 3 networks that will be broadcasting draft throughout the 3-day experience. Last but definitely not least, Saturday, April 26th, draft will open a bit earlier, and that's at 9 a.m. Draft experience will open at 9 a.m. as well. Draft theater will close. Draft theater will begin around 11 a.m. and we will close the footprint at 6 p.m. Next, I'm going to take you through a bit of our style guide. So the style guide, it encompasses just the nuances, the culture of not only Green Bay, but Wisconsin as well. And so I have some great just messaging from our creative team who really pulled this together and again, leverage the culture of not only the city, but the state. So here we have overall, this year's draft thematic is built by community. So it celebrates the connection the local community has with the Green Bay Packers. And we've really done this through a handcrafted motif, which you'll see come to life within the following slides. Starting here, you'll see with the logo, the draft logo for Green Bay takes on a wooden motif, which speaks to the barns that comprise the region, as well as a nod to Wisconsin's lumber industry, which you'll see throughout the visual narrative. Our official draft font is called Bristle and contains a brush aesthetic to deliver on that handcrafted feel. Here we have a sampling of draft patterns within our toolkit that are a nod to the industry, not only to the industry and farming, so much like the land plot pattern on the left and the crop line pattern on the lower right. And to further deliver on this idea of community, we've created these image clusters, collages that speak to the Green Bay community in a really unique way. Here, you will find, as mentioned earlier, with Wisconsin being a leader in the lumber industry, it only made sense to really stylize each team logo in this wooden motif. And so you see it here with the Green Bay Packers logo. You also see it here with the New England Patriots logo. Last but definitely not least, as I mentioned earlier, with Wisconsin being a leader in the lumber industry, we really just wanted to bring to life the woodcut motif that you'll see. And you'll see this baked in all 32 club logos that'll be pretty much, they'll live across our broadcast and other avenues over the 3-day period. And so I'm going to toss it to Jen Marks and Kelsey Petrangelo to take you through the site layout and access.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you everyone for having us tonight. I'm Kelsey Petrangelo with our live event operations team, in a moment, I will turn it over to Jen Marks to really get into the detail here on the next couple slides. But we're very excited. We are a few weeks out, 25 days to be exact, from the first truck rolling in to really start on our theater build. So the excitement just continues to build from here on out as we progress through the overall plans. The big piece that you'll see here is there's a lot that's happening. There's a lot of real estate that we do take over, but we do it in a phased approach. So what we'll walk you through in a minute as it relates to road closures and the surrounding areas is really how can we be the least impactful to the overall community and the businesses and everyone in the surrounding area. So by us kind of taking a deeper dive into it and looking at what roads maybe we can hold off on a little bit longer and how do we continue to start somewhere and then build on that plan overall. So with that, I will turn it over to Jen to start kind of talking you through what these colors mean, what the different areas are, and how that phased approach exactly works.
Thanks, Kelsey. Good evening. So we have a few slides to show you that kind of take you through both the macro and micro of the site build. Obviously, this kind of shows the large kind of 10,000 foot up view of what the overall build timeline looks like. And to Kelsey's original comment, we do try and stagger in the build. The theater structure where the show takes place takes the longest to build out. So we try to condense our site into that small footprint that you'll see in bright green. That build will start March 29th. And then it'll also be on the backside, the last one that we, kind of vacate. So that full build goes from March 29th to May 6th. And then as we go through the timeline getting towards show week, we start to layer in additional footprints of the site plan. The next phase in is the blue area that encompasses more of the east parking lots at Lambeau Field, and then a parking lot on the south side. And then moving into mid-April, we start to really look at that full campus takeover where we expand onto the west side of the site in Titletown, the west and southwest parking lots at Lambeau Field, and then take over, the remainder of the Resch complex with the arena and Armed Forces Drive. So you'll see us kind of at that mid-April timeline really start to expand and be a lot more noticeable. And then with the stadium really kind of being more utilized on that show week itself. So, to Kelsey's original comment, we really do try to be mindful of the amount of impacts that we have on the community. It is a massive site, but we try to take over the space that we need when we need it and not too far in advance of that. All right, so this footprint here will show you a picture of what it would look like on an event day. So for our event days are Thursday, April 24th through Saturday, April 26th. We will also do a site lockdown on Wednesday, April 23rd. So that's a day prior to our first event day where we do a security sweep of the campus, and we can talk more about that later. But this is essentially what, fans coming to site will experience as they arrive. The stars identify our two general admission fan entries that are located on the west and southwest side of the site that really draw people in and through the experience that Nikki will speak to. And then as the day goes on, folks will make their way over to the east side of the site where the Draft Theater is located in Lot 3 of Lambeau Field. And then we'll utilize the Resch complex for a lot of our back of house show functionality, the Prospect Green Room, where the players will get drafted from and make their way to stage, where the media operations are hubbed, and then a lot of our additional back of house officing, broadcast compound where all of the broadcast networks bring their trucks, et cetera. So that is really meant to identify, the fan zones identified, through the green of the experience moving towards the yellow for theater viewing. And then orange signifies our back of house areas. and the surrounding road closures that would impact crowd and traffic flow around the site. With the support of all the locals and PD and DOT, we'll be trying to message to fans with a lot of know before you go. And Mike will speak a little bit more to that to, inform our fans on how to get around the site. And then this speaks a little bit more to the phased approach specifically for road closures themselves. So similar to the site build, we do the same thing with our road closures, where that green phase 1 really just accounts for the initial theater build that we would be taking over right on March 29th. And then as we continue through the phases of the site expansion, we would also expand our closures to encompass more of the site. And, with the full takeover, if you will, being that phase 4 there that shows the orange, and that would include phase 4 would include all of the phases before it as well. So the full color spectrum there shows you an event day closure, and some of those roads do sit within inside our secure perimeter on the event site itself, like that green portion of Oneida, whereas others would be more ancillary to support pedestrian movements and maintain safety for crowd, walking to the gates or around the site. This just supports some of the previous maps that we've shown you, but basically identifies our key dates in our site build, beginning with March 29th, which is when we will begin our load-in. That will also initiate the phase 1 of our road closure plan. And then going through mid-April, we begin the second phase of our road closure plan, along with the coordinating experience build. And that's really where the footprint that will take place in Titletown and the west side of the site. So that's kind of back on the original slide where you started to see, that full east-west expansion. And then we go into our event day closures that get phased in over the 23rd of April, which is that Wednesday prior to our first event day on Thursday. Full phase 4 closures will be taking place the 24th through 26th. And then as we do on load in, we'll begin to stagger out and reopen the roads on load out. So we have identified dates to go along with those reopenings. But what we always say is that as our operations team clears the site, if we can open up roads earlier, we absolutely will. There's no reason for us to hold on to them. As soon as we get all the equipment off of them and it's safe to reopen them, we absolutely do that. So these dates are subject to move around a bit, but these are targets that we're aiming to hit. And we do have a plan in place to support Aaron and some of our other local community members. We have a gentleman that is locally based, Gary Baranowski, who will be supporting communication to the local businesses and property owners surrounding the site. And he will message things like road closures, access, the frequency of deliveries that are available. And so he'll work individually with property owners, based on their individual needs, because a business and homeowners are all very different. So we'll be communicating to them and working with them directly on what their access and needs look like throughout all of these closures and event days to make sure that they still have access to their property and that we are being as accommodating and minimally impactful as possible. So these are just a couple of key takeaways. This is a lot of what we'll be messaging tomorrow in our town hall as well. But just mostly that we will be, we know that we are impactful to the local community, but we're going to work diligently and we are committed to making sure that we are as accommodating and as least impactful as possible for each individual. And that, we recognizing that we are, that we do kind of create a bit of a hubbub, we do recommend if there are businesses that have the ability to work from home, we do tend to recommend that just around peak dates. And we can, again, work with each group on that specific plan. I think that's it. So we'll turn it to our colleague, Nick Yule, to talk you through the experience. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Excited to take you through the draft experience. This is our football festival that's the companion to all of the activity happening on the draft theater. So this is a little taste from previous years, but on the top left, you'll see our autograph stage. We'll have a number of NFL active players and legends. Certainly Packers legends and active players will be part of this for free autographs and meet and greets. As John mentioned, we do celebrate all 32. So there is photo opportunities, interactive games. We'll celebrate the Vince Lombardi Trophy, as well as a lot of interactive games and photo opportunities. So a really great opportunity for fans of all ages. We have our smallest fans in Titletown, where we'll have NFL flag skills and drills taking place. We have a Play 60 zone, but we also have a lot of cool Bud Light too. So it's for families and friends to gather. It's a wonderful gathering place. It's really about community, as a number of my colleagues have mentioned. We want to really bring people together and count down to what will be an amazing 3 days of the draft. Just a little overview of hours of operation. I know Ashley, my colleague, spoke a little bit about that, but the beauty of the draft is we don't know how long the clubs will take on the clock. So what we do have are fixed hours related to the fan festival, which is the draft experience. So Thursday we'll be opening our doors, that's the 24th, at noon to 10 o'clock. Friday, noon to 10 o'clock, and then on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So what we do at the draft, because we don't know how long the teams will take on the clock, we shut down the games and attractions at 10 p.m. But the business of the draft, which will take place on the stage, it's a business meeting at its core, will continue, and you can watch the draft in its totality on all of the screens that will be throughout the draft. It's about 70 football fields worth of programming that we have on the exterior of the stadium. And as John mentioned, we're having a lot of activities inside Lambeau Field and on the field itself proper as well. So you're never going to be too far from the draft, even if you don't have a seat inside the theater. One thing to mention on the theater proper, that is a pre-selected fans and guests. The majority of our fans that are coming to the site will be general admission, which means they'll be in the standing room only space behind the theater. So as you saw in the Detroit sizzle reel, that sea of blue jerseys, it'll be a sea of green jerseys here. And those are standing room only seats. So they're first come, first serve. You can, of course, come into the draft experience once you go through the security screening. We are a clear bag policy. Once you're in, you're in. You can free flow between the draft experience parking lots inside Lambeau. If you do leave the perimeter in any way, you just have to go through screening once again. A couple of things on the programming side of things, as I mentioned with some of the photos that were there and in the sizzle reel, interactive games and exhibits, they're for fans of all ages. We do have some age restrictions around the flag clinics that'll be at Titletown. Those are for boys and girls ages 6 to 14. There is access to the Lambeau Field, which we're really excited about, for a Lambeau Leap photo op, the red carpet for the prospects, as well as a field goal kick. We also have a number of NFL partners that'll be activating, and they'll do their own meet and greets and NFL player autographs and giveaways. NFL Shop, presented by Visa, will have draft merchandise as well as all 32 represented. One Pass pricing, I'm going to take you through One Pass here in a second, but it's our companion app to the live event. We also are featuring a Wisconsin Supper Club concessions experience curated with our friends at Delaware North, but also a number of local restaurants that will be curating the food and beverage, and they keep 100% of their earnings. Again, 32 clubs represented. We'll have NFL flag clinics, and one of the most coveted things, of course, is seeing our players with their helmets off. So you'll see a lot of NFL players and legends that'll be traversing across the campus. One Pass, we're excited to launch the One Pass app. It actually dropped today for the draft section. So the main call to action for all of our friends in the community is to download the One Pass app or visit nfl.com/draft access. The event is 100% free except for whatever you purchase at concessions, which again, all of the restaurants keep 100% of their revenue, or whatever you purchase at NFL Shop presented by Visa. Otherwise, the event is completely free. But in order to make sure that we have a safe experience for all of our fans, we want to know how many fans to expect and what day they're potentially coming. So if you go into the OnePass app now, I encourage you all to download the app. It'll have registration, and adults can register up to 5 minors. So if you're bringing little ones, you can register up to 5 minors. You'll get a QR code that's generated, and that QR code will appear in the top right of your app. You'll also get it in your email, and that is your access to get into the gates. If you're an adult, you'll want to register yourself. If you are having tech issues, you're not tech savvy, come on down to the site. We'll get you registered when you get there. So no worries. There's no barrier to entry at anything that we're doing at the draft. A couple of other things that we're going to layer in. My friends are going to take you through the transportation. I know Kelsey mentioned it a little bit. As we have that information about transportation and parking, that'll be layered in the coming weeks. It'll also have a daily schedule. So the number one thing that fans want to know, in addition to programming on the stage, is who's coming to sign autographs, who's doing meet and greets, where can I see NFL players. That schedule is exclusively in the NFL OnePass app. There's a schedule tab at the bottom of the app. You can tap that and you can see the schedule over the course of those 3 days. So we'll continue to populate that even during the event. You'll see more names pop up. Maps and wayfinding will have a fan-friendly map that fans can use to navigate the site. There'll be 2 general admission entries, but we want to make sure that fans have a really seamless experience. So download the OnePass app and you'll have a clearer idea of what to expect. This is not a Packers home game. This is not training camp. This is a different overlay of security. So we just want to make sure they're prepared. There's a lot of know before you go information also for visitors to this amazing community. Hotel information. Nick Meisner has been wonderful on letting our fans know who don't live in the region what to expect. So a lot of information about hotel opportunities as well. There's an AI chatbot. It's called Ask Vince. So that if you have questions, you can pop that in there too. So again, registration is open today. We also have a inbox for fans who have questions. It's experience.support@nfl.com. I go in there multiple times a day to make sure that we're updating the questions that are being asked, updating the frequently asked questions so that we know, so our fans know what to expect when they get on site on the 24th. And I'm going to turn it over to our friends in transportation.
Thank you, Nikki. Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for the opportunity. On behalf of myself, Mike Whitty, and my partner here, Nick Meisner with Discover Green Bay, we are thrilled to be here and go over some of the elements of the overall transportation and parking plan. I have to say, team, that we've been to a lot of drafts. I've actually had the opportunity to work on previous 27 Super Bowls, and I've never seen more dedication and collaboration from the city, the county, the village, and the state on putting together an overall effective traffic management plan in support of the draft and the draft campus. What Nick's job and my job now is to do is actually take that information, put it together into very fan-friendly collateral materials, and start publicizing that information so fans can be successful and guests can be successful as they actually visit the Green Bay area. How do we do that? Oops, a little too fast. Through fan communications. As Nikki stated, we have the OnePass, but we've actually gone through putting together an overall elaborate neighborhood and business zones, north, south, east, and west. There'll be several fan approaches to the general audience entry 1 and 2 on the south side that was mentioned. The team has actually put together overall transportation charter and shuttle services locations for drop off on pickup. On the east side of campus, we're highlighting Mike McCarthy Way from Bart Starr Drive to Holmgren Way. On the west side of campus, we're actually highlighting Lombardi Avenue. And that's through a very elaborate traffic management plan that will help in moving traffic from Interstate 41 so they can achieve getting to the south side of the campus for neighborhood parking and or be directed to the north side of campus for neighborhood parking in that area. Also, that parking communication will live on the NFL One Pass and Discover Green Bay website at greenbay.com. More detailed information and maps to be provided and be forthcoming. We'll actually be looking at including maps on the road closure information on Discover Green Bay, greenbay.com. We'll also have park and walk and fan parking. Nick's going to go through the incredible responses that he's received from the community on different parking areas that are available to fans and more to come. And then we'll also take a look at potential rideshare locations on the east side of campus, again on Reggie White Way, and on the west side of campus at St. Agnes Drive from Ridge Road all the way up to Fifth Street. And again, not to forget different components of a multimodal transport plan. We're looking at how scooters may be able to support in the Green Bay area down to campus and back, as well as not forgetting and always having in mind our ADA or mobility challenge folks coming up with mobility parking options and also ways in which folks with mobility challenges can reach out to Discover Green Bay and the mobility team in support of the draft to make sure that their experience is at the top of the ball. And without further ado, Nick, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's always tough to follow Mike. Thanks for having me. Again, I just want to echo what everyone has said. It's been just an amazing experience, and thank you to the NFL and your team for coming out today and speaking to our community. I know it means a lot to everybody in this room. But like Mike said, we just want to talk about not transportation planning or anything like that, because I'm not a transportation expert, but I am a communication expert, and these are some of the various ways that we're going to get fans prepared to be able to come to our area, to be able to access our area, and to be able to traverse our area. So there's three core areas of updates when it comes to the communication around some of the logistical items with the parking, with shuttles and charters. And just a quick definition for everyone in this room. When we talk about, shuttles, we're talking about how people can get around within the community, whether that be through the Tavern League or city buses or anything like that. Charters is what we refer to as the buses coming into the area. So just now that we have those defined, we'll just start with parking. We had over nearly 300 responses so far to the parking survey that went out. So a big thank you to Green Bay and Ashwaubenon as well, who helped with resident cultivation in putting together the parking map. So we appreciate that support, as you all have been so supportive through this whole process. But like Mike mentioned, we'll be, splitting this up into various zones so we can continue through social media and other forms of communication like the One Pass app to share where parking around the footprint is available. And this will be continually updated in real time between now and the event as people enter their parking information. This is available on greenbay.com/draft25. And if you go to the parking tab, residents, alders in this that represent this area, if you guys could help get the word out, that would be amazing. We are not trying to, tell them how they can sell them or do anything with the dollars that are involved with that. We are just strictly bringing this asset to a fan communication resource. So we'll be able to tell people where they can and can't go park. When you click on each one of these dots on the website, it will also layer in details, addresses, number of spaces available. We don't ask price. That's not something we're interested in. But I know my colleagues and friends over here were surprised when I suggested we add if they were able to use their bathrooms or if tailgating's allowed. I don't think they were used to that level of hospitality. So then, excuse me, moving on to shuttles. We've been working really, really closely. We have a similar map of the Tavern League shuttles that you all have been aware of. Over 40 shuttles that they're recruiting drivers for now and are getting background checked through Brown County. So it's an amazing program that was supported by some state funds that is really going to help get people around. I think one layer of this that's not talked about enough is it's not only getting people around the footprint and to access all the amazing things with the NFL draft, but also outreaching to the hotels in Brown County, and we're hitting almost all of them. There will be shuttles dedicated to going in near the footprint and dropping where people can walk, and then getting people back out to those areas. Also on shuttles, I just want to shout out to the Green Bay Metro and the work that Mayor and Joe are doing with working with those bus routes. Those will be publicized on all the Green Bay channels, I'm sure, but also on Discover Green Bay's website through various fan communication. Mike did touch on the charters a little bit, but we have been doing some nitty gritty research and coming up with our list of motor coach companies throughout Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois. We've included all of their contact information as well as various industry sources that will be able to maintain communication not only with the fans that are on their buses through the NFL One Pass app, but also through their dispatch services. So if there is anything that comes up, we will be able to communicate directly, quickly, and effectively to the dispatchers at the motor coach areas to tell them that we need to slow down, speed up, what the capacity is, where to go, all in real time. So that's the transportation and logistics communications update. I'm happy to chat with anybody afterwards, or you all know my email is just nick@greenbay.com. You guys have that already though. Thank you.
My name is Ralph Ennis. I'm with NFL Security. Our job is to make sure we have a safe event. I'm happy to say that working with the public safety in Green Bay has been an absolute pleasure. And John Barker hit it on the nose. The level of collaboration has just been unbelievable. So I'm going to walk you through quickly what we're going to do to make you safe and some things I want to point out to you. First, threat assessments. We have been and continue to be monitoring anything that could be a threat to this draft. We're working with Green Bay Police, the FBI, and we have a whole team of analysts in Mount Laurel, New Jersey that every day look for anything that comes up about Green Bay and our draft. I'm happy to report there are no credible threats to this point. Hardened perimeter. You will see a lot of concrete and vehicle barriers outside of the draft footprint. This is to prevent any kind of intrusion that very much like we saw in New Orleans recently. So we're not going to allow that to happen in Green Bay, and there'll be a lot of concrete. Security screening. You're not going to be able to get into the footprint without going through a magnetometer or a X-ray if you have an ADA need. We also will have, for any vehicles entering the footprint, we'll have dogs and vehicle screening looking for bombs trying to be brought into the footprint. This is one I want to point out: prohibited items and clear bag policy. On One Pass, there will be a list of things that are not allowed to be brought into the draft and some dimensions for the types of bags that we will allow to come in. To help prevent somebody from coming and being turned away, it's very important that everybody knows what they're allowed to bring in or not bring in, because it won't be coming in the footprint. I talked about explosive detection canines. At our entrances, we will also have dogs walking around, very friendly dogs, but they're sniffing for explosives that may be on people. So if you see them milling around the entrances, that's what they're there for. Emergency preparedness and operations plans. We have thought of virtually everything that could possibly happen, and we've been working with the fire department, the EMS, and the police department to ensure we have plans in place to put people in a place that's safe if there's an emergency. If there's a weather event or any other kind of emergency that pops up, we will have good communication and plans to tell people where to go. This is another big one. Drones. There will be a temporary flight restriction around all the events. Drones, unless you're a government drone or a pre-approved drone, will not allowed to be flown. So that I say that to say is that if there's some random person out there with a drone up in the air, we're going to have the police go and pay them a visit because they're in violation of federal code. So it's important that we get the word out that drones aren't allowed during event days. Another one that's important is that we use cameras. We use numbers for people coming in and analytics to kind of keep an eye on how many people are in the draft. And we have plans with the police and the fire and all to make sure we don't have an overcrowding issue. So there may be, in Detroit, there was a time there where we had to temporarily shut down people coming in so we could address the amount of people in there. So just know if that happens, it's because we're monitoring it and we're trying to make sure it stays safe. And the last thing is goes back to my first comment, is that it's just been unbelievable, the collaboration we've had. going into this draft. I'm very comfortable that we're in a good spot and you have a great police department and fire department in Green Bay. And actually, we're getting a lot of support from, the greater law enforcement community in the Green Bay area and fire department community, and it's been great. That's it. I'm going to turn it over to Belinda Gardner from Community Inclusion.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to bring us home now that Ralph depressed us and talked about security. So community inclusion, I think you kind of heard it all tonight, how we have really put a strong effort in bringing in the culture of Wisconsin as well as Green Bay all throughout the draft. We've been here a lot of times. We've been here for about a year, been able to talk to a lot of different community groups, as well as just people within Green Bay. And I think you're going to start to see a lot of those pieces come to life, especially the week of draft. We have had a really intentional effort to ensure that whether that is the food, the music, how, the broadcast shows up, all of those different elements that makes Green Bay what it is, those are going to show up and they're going to be talked about in a way that we really feel like you all will be proud of. When it comes to just business engagement, we've had the pleasure of working with the Packers to really understand the different businesses that are across Green Bay as well as Wisconsin. We launched the Draft Source program here and have been able to engage a lot of different businesses, and our tier 1 suppliers have been able to connect with them, and we're seeing a lot of those contracts come through. We're unable to really talk about the numbers yet because we're still reporting and we're still solidifying different things, but we're really excited to see, how, you all will see your business community come across over the next couple of months. But I kept it short, and that's that.
All right, I know we have been in front of you for a while, so we appreciate the time today. But one thing that is key here is the community engagement. So all the amazing work Belinda does, I'm going to piggyback off of that and share just a bit more about our community relations and social responsibility team and the work they do. Not only do they do legacy initiatives, and that includes screening events and partnering, with local nonprofits, so on and so forth, to bring community initiatives to life that'll live beyond draft. In addition, we engage with the next generation of fans, and that's through our draft prospect and youth football clinic. Community moments that really inspire. Here, what we do is we include specialty draft picks into the programming as well as military honor moments. And last but definitely not least, we partner with ENGIE, who focuses on energy conservation, carbon offsets, and material recovery program. Again, that's just a small bit of the larger picture, but that's our time. So I'm going to toss it to John, who will wrap us up here.
Again, Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you very much for the time and the opportunity. I hope that we've demonstrated to you that a lot of work and a lot of collaboration goes into producing the draft. And it's not just about thousands of people and big tent structures. It's about the fine details as well. It's about how do you engage the community? The work that we do to bring local business in, all the way down to the small details of celebrating lumber and putting that into a decor piece. That's what draft is really about. So hopefully tonight we've demonstrated the work that goes into this and what this can become. It really is 3 days to celebrate this great game, celebrate this community, and have a lot of fun along the way. So again, thank you for your time tonight. We're looking forward to the next few weeks with you, and then looking forward to shining a very big spotlight on this great community. So thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for the presentation. More importantly, for all the work that the entire team, as well as our local partners, Green Bay Packers and Discover Green Bay, have devoted to the planning and preparation for this event. Really impressive work represented by the presentation tonight.